Welcome to Fit to Be Real.
And a little extra.
It's my day.
It 100% is your day.
I'm so excited. We are talking about the moon.
I love moons.
All of them?
No, the moon.
All of the moons?
I love
Listen.
the moon.
We just had a full moon. It is November. So by the time this comes out, we'll be a week out from our full moon. And I had a lot of questions in person last night at class asking me what was going on with the moon.
Wait, so did I. And I was like, I don't know. Ask Victoria.
Well, look at that. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the phases, the moon in general, how it affects us, what's the point, all the stuff. Moon magic. All right?
Moon magic.
Moon magic. I'm Victoria.
Hey guys, I'm Carly.
I just want to point out that I'm wearing my It's Just a Phase sweatshirt
Oh my gosh, you are.
on purpose with the phases of the moon on it.
You love the moon.
I love the moon.
Justin texted us yesterday and said, oh my gosh, look at the moon. And I have yet to respond. I did not respond to that text message. I was like, I'm in a fluorescent box right now called CFIT. I'm not looking out at the moon.
I saw it briefly and it looked like a National Geographic picture you would see. Then it was cloudy and then you couldn't see it anymore.
Like pink, yellow?
Yeah,
Oh,
because it
okay.
was also like around sunset.
Okay.
So the moon's light comes from the sun. The moon is actually dark and it has absolutely no light.
This is stuff that we should have learned in the 3rd grade, and I didn't pay attention then, so I'll try and pay attention now.
I don't think the moon was on. I mean, we learned the planets.
Well, no, we learned the moon, the waxing and the waning. I remember having
really?
tests on those. Yeah. And the moon and the waves and the science behind.
Shush.
Oh, we're getting there?
Yeah, we're going to get into all of it.
That's all I know, 3rd grade moon.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's really all you need to know. The questions we were getting, I didn't know you were getting questions. Nobody asked Carly questions about the moon or the sun.
No, to be fair, it wasn't actually a question. It was like, what is going on today? Because the moon must be like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Ask Victoria.
So
there's something going on.
Usually people are like, oh, that's so woo-woo. That's so hippie. All that stuff when you're talking about the moon. And when people are acting crazy, I always attribute it to the moon and get weird looks when I say that out loud. So now you'll know why.
We can still give her the weird looks, as I always do.
You can. I don't care.
Depends on what phase she's in.
We'll talk about it. So the moon is it's the brightest and largest object in our night sky. In the night sky. I'm going to be very specific.
Please do.
Okay.
Moon for dummies.
So the purpose of the moon makes the Earth more livable by moderating the planet's wobble on its axis.
I want to sing it so bad.
Wobble,
baby.
wobble.
Oh, we have 2 wobble songs. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble.
It basically keeps our climate stable. It causes the tides and it creates a rhythm that guides human beings. So one of my answers to a couple seafitters last night is that the moon affects the tides and the ocean and the seas. And we'll talk about why. But depending on where the moon is and how it's orbiting and where the sun is in relation to the moon and the earth, that's why we have waves. Like that's where some tidal waves come from. And of course, storms. And that's where
Tsunamis.
the tide comes in. You're just naming things that you know. Very good. The tide comes in, the tide goes out, and it's all affected by the rotation of the moon and the sun and all of that stuff. We are made up of 70% water. We are the same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we are affected by the moon in that way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I see the extent of my moon knowledge ends there. The moon controls the waves.
Right.
That is the extent. I do know the phrase, the moon is in retrograde. I don't know what that means, but I will use it to sound like you.
It's usually Mercury's in retrograde.
Oh, shoot.
But the moon can be in the microwave as well. That's fine.
I said retrograde, not microwave.
I know, but people call it microwave because it's like funny. Oh, this is going really well. Do you know who discovered the moon?
God. On the 7th day.
No, isn't that the sun?
Oh, no, he rested on the seventh day.
Galileo Galilei.
Yeah, okay. Galileo.
I knew it. I wrote that down just because I was like, I'm going to test a theory that she's going to start singing Indigo Girls. And it's true.
I think there's going to be a lot of me singing on today's episode because that is all I will be able to contribute.
If you can find songs about the moon, you will win. You will win the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are 8 phases of the moon, and they are all caused by the position of where the sun, moon, and earth are. When we see a bright full moon, or even if it's in part of the phases where it looks like a banana and then it looks like the letter D and it starts to get fuller and it gets smaller, that's just a reflection of either other stars, the sun, or something called earthshine, which is the reflection of lights on Earth.
Is there a moonshine?
Are you drinking it right now? Is it in your Christmas mug? The two, when you see the emojis, like if you go and you type into your emoji in your phone, moon, all of the phases of the moon pop up, right? When it's a bright and looks like the sun in the emoji, because I know you can all look at this right now while I'm talking, that's a full moon. The dark one is a new moon.
New moon.
Have you ever heard of new moon?
I mean, I've heard of it from probably you.
So if the moon is between Earth and sun, that's the back of the moon is lit and the front of the moon is dark.
Yeah, it's so lit. It is lit.
That's a new moon. That's when we can't see the moon. Because it's completely dark and it's actually
I'm picturing it.
Party in the back. It's a mullet. Party in the back of the moon. Sun's reflecting off the side that we can't see.
Nice. Listen, this is mooning. I'm mooning all over you. Ooh. All over you. Ooh. That's from Greece. No, I'm saying this is mooning for dummies, and I understand that.
Yeah. If the moon's on the other side of Earth compared to the sun and it's all lit up, it's a full moon. So if you were looking up in the sky like we've been talking about last night, and it's perfectly round and it's very bright, that is a full moon. So new moon and full moon, 2 very different things, but both the center of the 8 cycles of phases, right? When it's in that partial illumination, that's what the phases of the moon are. It's just a phase.
It's a phase.
It just goes through the phases, right? So it's a 29. This is what gets me about like humans.
Oh.
We're based off of the cycle of the moon. So if the moon wasn't discovered until 1610 by Galileo, they had no idea what a calendar was, what anything was, right? So they were going off this giant thing in the sky, and it cycled every 29 and a half days. But that only makes 354 days, and we go off of a 365-day cycle.
Oh.
Right. So there's an 11-day gap in how the moon cycles and how we have a calendar on paper. It's all based off of harvesting. And like we're going to go through all the names of the moons, which you've heard before, and it's all Native American because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like that's who basically created the terminology.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly when the calendar changed. It's something I have to look into, I guess. But the reason why the 29 and a half days is important is when we get to the blue moon. So we'll talk about that.
Blue moon.
Yep. You're 3 for 3. This is actually really good. The 8 phases. The new moon, we just talked about. Completely dark. Can't see it. It's up there, but it's hiding. It's hibernating like a bear. Then it goes into that waxing crescent, which is like the banana.
Yes.
Right? It's really...
I know that one.
Then it's the first quarter moon, which is kind of like the letter D. So it's getting bigger, but it's not fully there. You're going to notice this the next time you look up at the moon. Actually, do it for an entire month, and then you can track it, and it'll be really cool. Yeah, it's growing at this stage because waxing is growing and waning is getting smaller, right? So the first quarter moon is that D shape. Waxing gibbous is just getting bigger from that D shape. Full moon, it's now made it to the full brightest moment, and then it goes into the other way. Then it's a waning gibbous.
I want to be like, I'm waning. Like the Wicked Witch. I'm waning. That's how I always remembered that it was getting smaller because I'm waning.
Because it's still melting?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think I'm embarrassed, but I'm not sure. Then it goes into the last quarter moon, and then it goes in to the waning crescent. So it starts at a crescent, goes into the full or new.
The waning crescent is like the thumbnail, right? Like the very thin.
Yeah, it's like the banana crescent, just like on the other side.
On the other side.
So it's either on the right or the left.
Okay.
Right? But it's the same thing. It's just mirrored.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we know the phases of the moon, and we know that it's a 29.5-day cycle, and usually our months are 30 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means we have about 12 full moons a year, 12 months in the year, so 12 full moons. However, because of that 11-day gap, every 2 years, 2.5 years, we get a 13th moon. That's a blue moon.
Oh.
That's a blue moon.
Okay.
So more than one full moon in a month is a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
There you go.
Guys, if
There you
you
go.
learn nothing else today, you learned the phrase once in a blue moon, but it's twice a month, the blue moon.
Well, it's the second full moon in the month.
Somebody messed that up.
I think it was you just now. Oh my God. Yeah. That's where blue moon comes from. And that's when rare things, or when someone uses that phrase once in a blue moon, it just doesn't happen frequently. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
And that is why. It's not because the moon is actually blue.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I was just going to ask you, is it a shade of blue? No, it just means once in a blue moon.
Yeah. I mean, it can, the moon, like in August, the moon has like a red hue, like a haze. So it can kind of look different colors, but no, it's not actually. Yeah. There's no mice up there singing.
Like on top of the blue moon?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Blue moon. All right. Once is enough.
Okay. This I love. And I think I'm geeking out. This is like
You're
my
so
episode.
Geeking out right now.
I really
She's
love
smiling
it. Because I'm smiling. That's how you know.
Victoria's smiling. Michelle's smiling.
Michelle. Full House.
Full House. Anyway.
So each month has a different name for the moon.
Okay.
Yes, each month has a different name. It's true. For the moon as well.
All
She
right.
looked at me like I was
like, this is for dummies.
So January is a wolf moon. Quite literally, because wolves howled because of no food in the rough month of January.
No way.
So it's called a wolf moon.
That's cool.
February is a snow moon. Just because it's, cold, stormy weather.
Yeah.
Pretty obvious. March is a worm moon.
Yeah. That's gross.
Because of like the worm trails
Okay.
from in March. And I think that's just like the beginning of spring and
Did Galileo do this?
No.
Oh.
This is the Native Americans.
Oh, all right.
April is a pink moon. And that's just because of a specific wildflower blooming.
Because of Easter.
May is a flower moon because of the abundance of flowers, not the specific flower.
Makes sense.
June, you've heard of a strawberry moon.
Yes, I actually have.
And that's just when strawberries are harvesting
Uh-huh.
in June. So eat your strawberries in June because they're good.
That's when they're juiciest.
July is a buck moon. And that's when male deer shed their antlers.
No way.
You ever see one like shake their antlers off? Online?
No, not in this lifetime. I have not.
Online, not like in person.
Oh, no.
Not in Springfield, Pennsylvania,
not
Carly.
in this lifetime. Again, that's not what I'm YouTubing these days.
Okay, August is a sturgeon moon or a red moon.
Okay.
Sturgeon, it's a species that appeared first in August.
Got it.
And then it's also called the red moon just because of the summer haze and how, the sun is probably highest and hottest in August. So that's the color of the moon actually changes. September is the full corn moon.
Well, that makes sense. Because the corn is as high as an elephant's eye.
Technically, that is a song she's singing, but she
made it into a monologue.
Yeah, what was I gonna? Word poems.
Haiku.
Written word.
Written word.
Spoken word. Spoken word. Oh, man.
I decided to switch it up.
So the full corn, that's just the crops were gathered at the end of September, and corn was Corn was hot.
Corn be popping.
October's the hunter's moon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's brightest and longest in October. So it helped them hunt for food. That's what it was. So the hunters had more opportunity to feed everybody. November is the beaver moon.
What?
And that's when beavers' heaviest activity of building dams.
Heaviest? Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
November. I don't know. December is a cold moon.
Wow. That one was pretty to the point.
I have no explanation for that.
I would say that that is the explanation.
Yeah. So those are all of the names that you'll see. So if you see a lot of once you start clicking on like moons in your Instagram, the more things will come up, and sometimes you'll just all of a sudden all of my Instagram is telling me all about the moon and when we have full and what it means and all that stuff. And it's really fun to look at that, but sometimes I was like, what, the buck moon? What's a buck moon? So now you know.
That was a good explanation. I like that.
Thank you.
Sure.
So here's the part of the moon that I really wanted to talk about today, and it's how it affects us. So we already talked a little bit about it, but the science behind like the tides and how it affects basically Earth, not necessarily just the human beings, is that it exerts a strong gravitational pull, and that's what changes the ocean and the seas. So as it rotates and changes through the phases, that gravitational pull is what's changing us as well. And due to that 70% water, we are also affected by that gravitational pull.
I think that's the most interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. And so what happens when the water, if you think of yourself as a glass and it fills up from bottom to top and we're full of water.
Wait, are we half full or are we seeing it?
It depends on how you're looking at it, you know? Depends on your perspective. But if you think of it like that, just to picture what I'm going to say, and it's filled with that water, turn it into emotion, right? It's a glass full of emotions. So as it teeters and totters and changes and goes through the phases, certain emotions get pulled to the surface.
Oh.
As we rotate and as the moon changes us. So that's why the tides and the feelings are connected in terms of water and the moon.
I always see people's Instagram stories or like friends of mine that'll be like, oh my gosh, what is going on with the moon? Because I am feeling a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Things get brought to the surface. Yeah. This is what they're talking about. So in Latin, moon is luna, right?
Right. Love that name for a dog or a child.
Awesome.
If your child's name is Luna, I like it too.
Cool. Harry Potter.
Okay.
But the reason I say that is Luna, lunatic, Looney Tune.
No way.
It derives from temporary insanity. Where lunatic comes from, but it derives from the moon, which is Luna.
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It's like one of those memes that's like, I was today years old when, you know, I'm serious.
No, but that's where lunatic comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I was today years old.
Today. Nice. Nice. In science, some say that we react to the subtle changes of the Earth's magnetic field and the gravitational pull, like we said. And when the ocean flows with the tides, salty water, which is electrically conducted, causes the magnetic field to fluctuate. So because the moon affects, there's another way to look at it, because the moon affects the water, and oceans make up most of the Earth, which is salty.
Okay.
Which is electrically conducted.
Uh-huh.
That changes the magnetic field and forces it to fluctuate. And the fluctuations affect our alpha brainwaves. Humans' alpha brainwaves.
That is crazy.
And that is where the effect comes a little bit more scientifically. It basically means the same thing.
That you said.
The first thing and the second thing.
But that's the science behind it. Yeah.
And what happens is that it is studied that people, human beings, get 30% less sleep at a full moon.
Oh.
And what happens when people don't sleep?
They get lunatic-y.
Oh my God.
No, but right? Like they get a little wild.
Yeah. The internal biological rhythm is shifted because of the moon. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And it affects your mood. When you don't sleep, you are tired, you're cranky,
Yeah.
or you're feeling loopy. Doesn't have to be negative. It could just be loopy and like
Emotional.
all over the place,
Yeah.
unbalanced, unaligned. So the full moon, it is a legitimate thing, whether you believe in God or the universe or spiritual, whatever it is.
Or science.
That's what I was going to say. You can't debunk
Yeah.
the fact that the moon is the reason for a lot of changes all around.
It is just coming to me now with everybody being like, oh my gosh, is it a full moon? People are acting crazy. People are driving crazy. People are whatever. It must be a full moon.
Yeah. Because somehow spirituality and connecting in that way, it has a taboo, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, connotation to it. So when people say, like, I'm aware of that. So when people come in to me, like clients of mine, and they're like, I don't know what's going on in my household. I don't know what's going on with the kids at school. I don't know. Like, all of that stuff. I'll be like, well, full moon this weekend. And I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I hate to disclaim that, like, I know this sounds weird to you.
Yeah.
Because there's some sort of, you're crazy if
Yeah.
you think that the moon has, like that sort of thing.
You're loony.
You're a lunatic. You're a delulu. But it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Just like there are 8 phases, there are different ways that those 8 phases affect us. It's not just, oh, we're at a new moon, we're crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone. It all changes us in a different way.
Mm-hmm. I'm waning.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to input something
No.
a little bit more on the wisdom side.
I just feel like if you are studying for a moon test, that I just helped you pass. I'm waning. Means
I'm going to make that a sound cue. And we're going to just put that in every couple minutes.
I'm waning.
The new moon, when the moon is dark and not there, it's in its low light phase, obviously, but that also means that we are low energy. We are tired. So we should be introspective. And this is a phrase from an article that I read that I really liked. Indulge in introvert time.
Oh.
Indulge
in that.
Just sitting by yourself.
Yeah.
Do not go out. Don't make plans. Take that time in your low energy. Why am I so tired? Why am I just like dragging? It's for a reason. You have to listen to it, and you're going to notice the next new moon how you're feeling, hopefully.
Is there a new moon every day, all day, like every month, all month? For me?
What are you trying to say?
I like to indulge in my introvertness at all times. I'm waning.
The waxing crescent. So when it's growing, but it's in that banana shape, that comes after the new moon, right? So after it's dark and it starts to get a little bit brighter and a little bit more bright and a little bit more bright, that's after relaxing, recharging, reflecting, and you're ready to go forth with some new light.
Oh.
So quite literally what the moon's doing, that's technically how we are all kind of, if you're going off of the moon, you're very in sync. Don't.
Yes. Yes. Oh, there's so many songs I want to sing.
They don't have one about the moon.
Make me ill to see you give love and attention at his will. You can't imagine all the pain I feel to see you with him.
Moon. There we go. We made it about the moon.
I do have a question real quick. Are there people that live by the moon? Like they will look at the moon or they will research the moon and they will live their daily life being like, okay, it's this kind of moon.
Yes.
Really?
They're
Okay.
called yogis or spiritual people.
Okay.
Hippie dippies, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the moon is connected to everything. I mean, if we're going to get into it, the moon affects, yes, our emotions, yes, our earth. It affects our menstrual cycles.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's why we, as females, are a 30-day start over.
Right. That's the first thing I thought of when you said that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's all put together.
So if you track yourself and your body and your cycles, it's usually and you're in tune with the moon, they line up.
Right.
They line up.
Oh,
So then that's how you
know.
track it. Yeah, I don't necessarily like live my life by the moon in what I think you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I look up every single night, check out what's going on up there, and I kind of do go by what we're talking about right now of, all right, I'm good. The moon is
Messing with me.
the moon is hiding, and so I feel okay to be a little bit more on my couch and like feeling my feels and feeling okay. And as it gets, brighter and bigger, I also start feeling like I'm okay. And okay, now I'm gonna put some intentions out there. I'm gonna start doing new things. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
you can go with the moon. You can cycle with the phase of the moon.
If you know what you're looking for and you track it.
Because you can't be bright all the time.
No.
You cannot be full and bright at all times. So if you think that you can, you're going to crash. And then your new moon of darkness lasts way too long.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go with the cycle of the moon, you have time to be bright, and then you have time to come back down, and then you have an ebb, and then you have a flow, right? Hills and valleys. So if you do go by the moon, you're pretty balanced, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go by the moon.
No. I definitely go big and then I go home.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Go bright or go dark. She's dark. So in any case, back to where we were. The waxing crescent. That's a time to write intentions out. Thank the universe for the beautiful things that are coming. They're not there yet because you're not full yet. They're coming, right?
I'm waiting.
Then we get into the first quarter moon. And that balance of light and shadow reflects the obstacles that you're going through and how you will overcome them. I mean, that's just actually exactly what we just said.
Yeah.
The shadows and the dark, you kind of have to sit with them to be able to get out of them, right? So that's that phase.
I'm waiting.
Waxing gibbous. It signals redirection and adjustment and flexibility. So if plans change, you have to look at that as a new direction instead of a dig at you.
Yeah.
It's basically just how you look at
Like you change
hardships.
direction, like wax on, wax off. I've been waiting to say that since we started.
Your patience will be tested during this waxing gibbous. So you have to be flexible.
Like one direction is wax on, other direction is wax off.
I'm as challenged as I can be right now. So I think, yep, we're coming out of that full moon.
I don't think there's anyone more challenged on this subject than me. The fact that you're getting through to me and I'm dealing with it humorously and understanding. I understand.
Oh, she thinks she's funny.
Means you're doing a good job.
So with the flexibility that you are supposed to practice in the waxing gibbous, you practice that flexibility with gratitude. Gratitude is just being grateful and realizing that it's really hard to say that. Just be grateful. Well, how do you be grateful? Right?
Yeah.
And it's just knowing that what you have is enough. Like that's gratitude.
I practiced that last night. It was Cyber Monday and I wanted so many things and I had my carts full and I looked at all my carts and I was like, I don't need any of this. I have more than I could ever have. And I didn't buy anything. And I was grateful for all of the stuff that I had. So I deleted all of my carts at all the stores. And I only bought stuff that I had gift certificates for.
I'm picturing your phases of the moon like empty shopping carts. And there's only a couple things, and there's a little bit more, and then there's a little bit more, and then it's totally full. And then you start realizing, no, maybe we should take things a little bit back here.
Listen, if that's the way you need to see it, but I practiced gratitude last night. I was grateful for everything I had. And I said, no, Cyber Monday, you will not get me this year. And that was it. I was grateful.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I forgot it was Cyber Monday. I haven't
Be
done
grateful
one,
for that. Be grateful
one
for
Christmas present yet. That's really a shame for me.
I'm waiting.
So we've made it to the full moon, which
Thank
is at
God.
its brightest. It's at its brightest. But because the moon is bright doesn't mean happy, positive things. It's at its most tense for us.
Oh.
And it's a heightened emotion, which is what it was, right? When the feelings are feeling all the things. and everybody's in their feelings era.
Way to talk to the young kids.
Yes.
Very good.
So it has that extra energy, but it's opposite energy. So the sun and the moon pull on your own energy. So the moon is feminine and the sun is masculine. And everybody has a feminine and a masculine part to them, especially emotionally. And so when the moon is at its fullest, we are at our most emotional because that's where the feminine energy comes from, if you can wrap your head around that. So what we're supposed to do is observe, just observe. Don't take action. Don't do anything. Observe yourself, observe others, and have compassion. And that is the hardest thing, is to have compassion for yourself. Very easy to have compassion for other people, hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully. Not all people, I guess.
And remember that you're getting less sleep, so you don't want to make any decisions when you're sleeping less.
Yes. Yeah, accurate. Yes. Wow, very good.
Yes!
That's the first thing you said that was helpful. It was great.
Yes!
I'm waning.
So now we're in our waning gibbous stage of the phases, right? And everything slows down. You're supposed to, I like this phrase too, bathe in satiation and gratitude.
Explain.
You're supposed to soak in all the ways that you're satisfied in life.
Oh, okay.
Right? And just be grateful. But in a slow, not fast way. So how do you do that? You can sit down with a gratitude journal and send thank yous, reconnect with the people around you, whatever it is. That's a good time to maybe get out of that hibernating part of yourself and start coming out, right?
I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Got to let it show.
Third quarter.
I'm waning.
Or last quarter moon. Third quarter, last quarter, they get the same name. But the light starts to fade. So that's time to cleanse and release and let go. And it's let go of things that don't serve you. Do not sing Let It Go.
I want to so hard.
Her shoulders just reached her ears.
So hard I want to. Let it go. Let it go.
She took it down.
I had to.
Oh, man.
I'm in my third quarter.
No, you're not. But yes, you're supposed to let it go. You are to purge what no longer serves you. People, things, feelings, whatever it is, let it go. And it's just, that's a big releasing time, is when it's in the third quarter.
I'm waning.
And then the last one is the waning crescent. So it's that thumbnail on the opposite side of the phases, and the light is almost gone. The light of the moon is almost
gone. My God, that was so deep. I was like, good Lord.
The light of the moon. It just means it's time to reset and recuperate. It's basically just surrendering to trusting that things will happen and try to not have so much control on how things turn out and how things work out and how things are going to happen for you. You just have to surrender.
God, that's like my least favorite moon.
It's just the most challenging one. That's all.
It does help when you're looking at the moons. I'm literally looking at Victoria's phases of the moons, and it is very helpful.
Yeah. The phases just represent self-exploration. Like, yes, there are phases of the moon, and they're actually happening for the moon. But when it comes to us and how we can channel in with the phases, it's your own self-awareness. And if we all did that, just imagine. That doesn't mean you don't have to shave your armpits or you don't have to wear bell bottoms.
Is that what people think?
Well, whatever hippie terminology is for you, like, yeah, you know. That doesn't mean you have to do that. But if you become more self-aware, more introspective, and if the moon can help you, because it can be overwhelming to be like, I have to do all of these things.
I know.
And try to better myself. Like, that's a lot of things to do. You do it a little bit at a time. And if you follow the phase of the moon, the moon tells you what to do and how to do it. And then you're ebbing and flowing in a more balanced, aligned way than this crazy, out of control imbalance that we all usually are in, I think.
Or in also like a knowing way. Like
intuition?
No, just the fact that sometimes we have no idea why we act the way that we do. Sometimes we have no idea why we're feeling. Like I was just talking to Melody the other night. She was crying and she's like, I don't know why I'm crying. And she's 9. Yeah. So, I mean, she doesn't know anything about that, but just as an adult, knowing more about stuff like that, you could be like, well, I wonder what this means. Like I don't know why,
Yeah.
you know?
And we don't know why either.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't know. I was like, I don't know.
Oh,
But stop.
just stop crying. No, cry, let it out.
No, I know, but I just feel like the more you know, I don't know, sometimes easier it is to get through the freaking day.
Knowledge
know?
is power.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes where I'm like, why? What is going on? Why am I out of sorts right now? And sometimes I'll look into where we are in the phases of the moon. And I'll be like, oh my God, it's a full moon tomorrow.
Yeah.
No wonder everyone's annoying me.
Yeah.
Like everyone's loony.
Yeah.
Right? It's a thing. If you feel emotionally imbalanced, if you feel like you've heard this, what is going on with the moon, or that's the reason why people are feeling crazy, there's a little just 101. Moon 101 for all of you. There are 3 tidbits or quotes before we get into our fun little game that it hits home for me a lot. And I put them into my yoga classes, and I sometimes meditate on them if you want to use the word meditate. These are not my quotes. These are somebody else's.
Mine.
They're definitely not Carly's. Carly's is money, 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 money.
Money, money. Man, I could do this all day. All day.
So the moon doesn't judge what phase it's in.
Ooh.
So why do we do that?
Yeah.
Right? So if we ebb and flow like the moon does, which we do, whether you think you do or not, you do. You are not at the same level at all times. You cannot be healthily. Why do we judge when we're not as full and as balanced and you can feel it? Why can't we just get through and be like, okay, it's going to change. Things are going to change. This is all temporary. But we don't do that. We judge ourselves and we get really hard on ourselves or others and the people around us.
That is a really good one. Say it one more time.
The moon doesn't judge what phase she's in.
Yeah.
And to finish the quote, because I stopped, I got so into it. She feels each phase is equal and beautiful no matter what brightness she's in. Second one, embrace your dark side so you can illuminate when you're ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
The full moon cannot happen unless there is a new moon, and it takes time to reflect and recharge and reset and kind of sit in its darkness. Doesn't last long, but it has to happen.
And we've talked about that so many times. You have to feel your feelings and be in the bad to get the good.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to do that. And we try and cover it up all the time.
And then the last one isn't necessarily a quote. It's something that I've seen multiple people on Instagram say, and I love the way it's said. When the moon is looking incredible in whatever phase and you think the crescent is really cool, you want to try to capture that little banana, or it's full and it's perfect and you can kind of see the crevices of the moon because it's so bright. With your eyes, you're seeing it. You're seeing the beauty of it. And then you try to get your phone out and you try to take a picture. And if it's in the crescent, it's not that perfect banana shape anymore. It's not that perfect thumbnail that you're seeing with your eyes. It's blurry and it's a blob on your phone. Same thing with the full moon. It's just, it doesn't illuminate what you're seeing with your eyes. We don't discredit what our eyes are seeing though, because our phone isn't as bright.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we do that when we look at pictures of ourselves?
As you were talking, I was just saying that, like, how many times I've said, delete that.
Right. We don't delete or decide that what we're seeing isn't true because the phone is blurry.
Mm-hmm.
But when we take pictures of ourselves, the phone can't capture all of our beauty the way that we see ourselves in real life. And yet we believe the phone.
Mm-hmm.
We believe the picture. So if we can take moments to try to remember that the next time you take a picture and you're like so hard on yourself, give yourself a little grace.
Yeah.
Because you give the moon a little grace, right? You still save the picture on your phone, even though it's not exactly what you looked at with your eyes.
But how many times have you taken a picture and you're like, I mean, this is my MO, to be honest with you. Oh, take another one. Oh, I didn't like that one. Take another one. Oh, no, nope. Oh my gosh, take another one.
Yeah.
Like, and you could do that with the moon.
100%.
Like every time you're doing it, you're like, oh my gosh, it's It's not seeing what I'm seeing.
Right. Right. So three little moments of introspection for yourself. Try to bring it out into your everyday life, right? And now let's get
I
funny.
was going to say, this is deeper than I thought we were going
The
today.
moon is emotional.
This is moon magic.
We're about to not get deep.
Oh, God.
So let's play a little game. Is it a full moon or a blue moon? So if it's a full moon,
Is this a test?
no. If it's a full moon, it happens all the time.
Okay.
If it's a blue moon, it doesn't
Rare.
happen as often. A little bit more time has to pass.
Okay.
These are about normal things.
This is what happens when I put Victoria in charge of the game.
But this is going to be, yeah, we may cut this, but that's okay. So, is it a full moon or a blue moon when we need to change our bed sheets?
I mean, do you want the real answer or what I do? A blue moon.
I think it's more of a full moon.
Yeah.
Technically, they say once a week or every 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah.
How often we need to change our mattress?
Oh my God, 17 blue moons. Isn't it once every 17 years?
7.
Oh my God.
But technically that's a blue moon. 7 years is a long time. How often you should change, not on your body, but rid of your underwear.
Oh,
So obviously we change our underwear every single day.
right.
But taking underwear out of your drawer and throwing them in
Throwing
the
it away.
trash. Blue moon
I
or
mean,
full moon?
I know it should be a full moon, but like how many
Oh, I know.
pairs of underwear do you have?
Yeah. I would say it's a full moon. It's every 6 months. They say to rid of your undergarments every 6 months.
Do people do that?
I have no idea. Ooh. Changing out your toothbrush.
I feel like you're learning a little too much about me that you don't want to know, but I think mine's a blue moon.
3 to 4 months.
Oh, I would think it would be sooner. So I'm not that far off.
I do it around every 3, or obviously if you're sick, you throw it away immediately and get a new one when you're all healthy.
So I just heard this for the first time by Mr. Justin. One of my kids were sick and he was like, change your toothbrush because you don't
Yes.
want her doing that again. I was like, what?
I change my toothbrush more often. I give so much money to the toothbrush companies.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
I have a
mine's-
tongue scraper. I do all
You
the
do
things.
have a tongue scraper. You love a good tongue scrape.
I love a tongue scrape. All right, here's one. How often should you replace your hairbrush?
Oh, that's a never moon. It's a new one we're working on. It's never. Find the brush you like and never change it.
What month is that? The never moon. I don't know. It's between 6 months to a year.
Oh my God, that's
So-
full.
I guess that's a full, yeah.
Oh my gosh, no.
That depends on though how much product you use on your hair and like
Yeah.
skin issues. So it does depend. It's not perfect.
Well, then things should be cheaper because I can't be changing all this stuff
You tell
every
'em.
6 months. Like I'm not doing this, and you all know a little too much about me right now.
Well, this didn't have to get personal, but it got personal.
I mean,
That's okay. So here's a conflicting answer, and there are 3 answers to this. So you have 3 chances to be right and wrong. How often you have to change your makeup brushes for the ladies or the men who wear makeup?
I mean,
I have a full moon, a new moon, a blue moon, a harvest moon. Everyone says different things.
yeah, I am gonna go with my general consensus on this game and say it's a blue moon for me. But that is also why I get breakouts all the time.
Which is one of the reasons one person said every 3 months.
Ooh,
But if you're getting good makeup brushes,
yeah, they're
that's
expensive.
That's expensive. It Cosmetics says every like 3 to 5 years.
Oh,
And I go with It Cosmetics.
I mean, that's the makeup we use. I would think that they would say sooner, but they probably didn't tell you. But you should be washing them and
Yes.
cleaning them
yes.
every day.
You should be, I don't know if it's every day, but you should be cleaning your brushes regularly and then changing them out every 3 to 5 years.
Boo.
I've never done that in my life.
Me either.
Sponges are like weekly. Throw your sponges out.
Yeah.
If
oh,
you
wait,
use.
like on your face?
Yeah. That's what it says. That's a full moon.
There's
Every week, throw sponges out.
so much to learn today. I'm going to be a new me and a new moon.
Oh, God. I'm embarrassed. Okay. How often should you change your oil
Oh,
in your car?
never, moon. I don't do that.
Well, Carly's not in charge of that, but it is I would say full moon. It's every 5,000 miles, depending on how much you drive. So if you don't change your oil, your car will stop. If you don't change your oil in your body, your car will stop. Your body will stop. So I would say that's a full moon. Every 5 to 7,000.
I don't go anywhere.
All right, last one. Super important, and I've never done this in my entire life, and I'm a never moon, but that's not the answer. How often you have to change your refrigerator filter so your house doesn't explode into a big fire.
Yeah, that's a never moon for me. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Every 6 months.
Stop.
That's a full moon.
So what if you don't do it?
I mean, I've never done it.
Can we ask Mom the last time she's done it?
How is her house still
I
standing?
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I kept that one in there because I was like, I feel like people need to know that, and we don't know that, so I don't know if that's like a normal thing.
I've never
but-
heard of that before in my life.
Yeah, you got to change. Same thing with your air conditioning filters. You got to change them out.
Well, that we do every year before we turn the air on again.
Right.
But fridge, never moon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it never breaks.
Never gonna get it.
Oh my God.
Never gonna get it.
However, you won!
Yay! It's the first game I've ever won. I'm waxing. That means I'm getting bigger and Leon's getting larger.
Airplane, anyone?
Yeah.
The movie?
1985, Airplane.
We are all over the place in this episode because it is a full moon.
We
and
Luna.
We're coming down from a full moon this week and going right back into a new moon. Yes? Do we know it now?
I totally understand it. And next time, I may not take a picture of the moon, but I will look up and think of you.
Well, we're going to venture into the phase of the real tip and the real extra tip. So your real tip of the day is find a spiritual account or if you type in the word moon into Instagram, I'm sure there are accounts that will come up that follow the moon and just give information about where we are in the moon cycles and start to take note of it and be able to track where the phases of the moon are and maybe start a journal of where you're feeling. And it could just be like, if it's a Carly's journal, it's going to be feeling good, feeling bad, feeling confused, feeling tired. Like that's all you need to do. Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah. But start to track and then maybe you will become more balanced with your own internal clock and internal emotions and see how that affects your external life.
And so now here's your real extra tip of the week. It's called phase out. What does phase out mean? It means phase out deleting the pictures. Take the first picture. I mean, barring that your eyes are open and everyone's looking or whatever, I am the queen of delete until you get the perfect picture. Enough. Phase it out. Take the picture. That picture is real. That is the real you. There is no faking it. All right. So stop. Just phase out deleting all the pictures. Take the first picture. Victoria, do not take a picture of me right now.
I was just going to.
She picked up her phone. I saw what she was doing. Phase it out. Or you know what? Just don't take pictures at all. Remember it in your memory. JK, take all the pictures. Just stop trying to make it perfect. Phase perfection out. Oh, was I? Yeah. That's real, everyone. That is real. No sound effect needed. But phase out deleting the actual moments in your life and keep those pictures that aren't perfect because actually those are the ones that are always the best.
Yeah. Yep. That's good.
Thank you.
We leave you with one of our brightest minds, Albus Dumbledore. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light.
That's a good one.
And remember, you are always fit to be real.
And always allowed to be a little extra.
For legal reasons, we have to tell you that this podcast is meant for entertainment and educational purposes only. We are not healthcare professionals. For all of your health, wellness, fitness, and self-care needs, please refer to the medical professional in your life, your primary care physician, your therapist, a certified coach, whoever it may be. And then let us know what they say, because I guarantee we need to know it too. Okay? Okay, bye.